Hi everyone, and welcome to my very first little intro video for Fast Track, which is Math 0017. My name is Trisha Loger, but feel free to just call me Trisha. We'll just keep it nice and informal. So I'm going to start today by going through the syllabus. Sorry about that, I didn't have it right on me. So if you want to open this up, it's in Blackboard, and it's underneath on the left-hand side where it has that dashboard. It'll say syllabus. So you can go ahead and open up that tab and then just kind of follow along with me. So there's not too much to go through here just because we only meet for 10 days and there's no official grade for this class. You're merely going to end with a placement either to Math 920, which was your original placement, or Math 1003, which is the college algebra class. So I'm just going through this syllabus. We're starting out with the necessary materials. So you will need an access code, which you can purchase at the bookstore. I know several of you are already logged into my math test, which is awesome. If you have not already, please try to get that access code by Monday at the latest. If you are not able to do that, send me an email or a text, and I will try to get some type of a temporary access for you. You'll still eventually need to purchase that code, but at least temporarily. So you'll need that access code and then any scientific calculator. That'll bring you through college algebra as well. So if you're eventually planning on and going on in math, so the calculus series, for those who are going into science or engineering, you may at some point want to get a graphing calculator, but at least for Fast Track and for your college algebra course, you will not need that. Okay, so I have my email listed there. I know it's a little bit harder to see, but there is an underscore. This is pretty much the standard form for all faculty or staff emails at the college. So it's my name, underscore, Trisha_Loger at ivcc.edu. And I also have my phone number on there, 815-245-6029. So feel free to call or text me. Just make sure you identify yourself first and that you're in my Fast Track class as well, since it'll take me a little bit of time to get used to all the names, especially without having a face to attach that to during this time. Okay, so that is my contact information. This course description, I'll just let you read through that. Basically, your placement test is what allowed you to take this class. You're at the very high end of the placement score, but just a little bit under what was required for college algebra. So this will allow you to bypass Math 920 and go straight into college algebra. So $25 versus $500 pretty much. Your expected learning outcomes. Basically, we're going to be covering the topics that you would have seen in Math 920, but we're going to do it in a very short period of time. So we're not going to go quite as in depth. Hopefully most of these topics will be familiar to you, and it'll just be merely brushing up your skills to prep you for college algebra. So I'll kind of talk a little bit about the course outline. As I mentioned earlier, there is no actual grade for this course, but we will be starting with a pre-test, which you will take in my math test. That is Pearson's program. And then that'll just be kind of be a starting point for you. And then hopefully that score will continue to go up. I'll have you take the pretest probably a couple more times in preparation for the post-test. And then the post-test, you'll need at least a 75% or better in order to jump into the late start college algebra class. If you do not get that score, you'll go back to the original placement 920. So once we get through the test, I will kind of pass on your information to the appropriate teacher, either Mary Black or Dawn Chambers, depending on which course you're going to go into, and then ideally you'll be able to get into that Blackboard course and start there. Okay, so our course schedule, we started obviously on Friday, and then that was just the very first day, which again, this is kind of the second day. Is you want to get registered for my math test and then take your pre-test. I know several of you have already done that. Don't be worried about the score. They often range in the teens to 40% for that pre-test. That is perfectly okay. We don't expect you to be at a really high score. Otherwise, you would be going straight into college algebra and you would have no need for this course. So don't be alarmed by that. Also, if you haven't taken the pretest yet, when you do so, please do it on the honor system. So don't use notes. So no internet, no other people helping you out. Don't look up formulas. Just do what you can strictly on your own. Like I said, it's not for a grade. Don't worry about the actual score for it. That's just giving us a gauge as to what you need to work on. It'll develop a study plan based on your score for that. So you are allowed to use calculators. I don't know if I mentioned that in the actual live Zoom, but calculator is perfectly fine. Just no other aids. So no other people, no internet, no notes from a previous class that you've taken, none of that. So once you successfully take your pretest for the first time, my math test is going to generate a study plan for you. And that study plan is what you're going to be working on throughout the remainder of this course in preparation for the post-test and ultimately college algebra. All of this is to build your skills so that you will be successful in college algebra. So starting on Monday and then for the next 6 class periods, so Monday through Friday and then the following Monday, I will be doing a little lecture. We always call them mini lectures. So I'm not necessarily going to go too in-depth in the material, but I will be working through the handouts that I have in Blackboard. So again, if you open up Blackboard, there will be a handouts tab, and in that handouts tab, there will be the very top one should give you kind of some instructions on to getting into my math test. And then there's a questionnaire that I would like you to fill out. I'll talk about that a little bit more later. And then there will be 6 handouts for you. So, and they're in order. So the very first handout is what I'm going to cover on Monday. And then there's a corresponding chapter with that. So as I work through the handouts, both on Zoom Live, and then I will record it so that you can access it if you're not able to attend the Zoom Live sessions. That will just be working through the handout, and then that chapter that's associated with it, I would encourage you to work through those problems in your study plan. So if it's labeled as chapter 12, you will go into the chapter 12 problems in your study plan and ideally work through those. That way you have that extra practice. So it's kind of like your homework, but yet it's not actually homework. Okay, so that's kind of the format of it. During that time, so probably midway through next week or toward the end of next week, I would strongly encourage you to take the pretest again. Hopefully, you will have learned some new skills or just brushed up on your old skills, and that will allow you to improve your score. Okay? And then after those first 6 days, if you haven't taken the pretest, I will strongly recommend you take the pretest again. And then if we still have questions, I can go ahead and work through those questions for you. And then you are able to take the post-test. So you have to have the post-test taken by, I believe it's August 27th. It's the 10th day of class at midnight. So it has to be done that day. That way the next morning I can go in and assign you a placement, either college algebra or math 920. So you have to take the post-test for sure by that day, and you only get 1 attempt to take it, and it will be timed. So that's the difference kind of between the pretest and the post-test. The pretest, you have an infinite number of attempts. You can also start it and then stop it. You'll just simply X out of that in my math test, don't submit it. And then when you log back in at a different time, you can go ahead and pick up right where you left off. The post-test, on the other hand, is timed. I'll probably be giving you about 2.5 hours. Haven't quite decided that yet, and there is a password on it, so you're not able to open up the post-test yet. You will have to contact me when you are ready to take it. You can either take it early or, like I said, by that last day of class. So obviously, don't start it at midnight. I need to be able to put in the password for you. So please try to, at the latest, start taking it around 9-ish, and that way you can hopefully finish it by midnight. Okay, so I think I've covered the bulk of what we're going to be doing for this course. I do have the Zoom Live option. So every day from 1 until 3, I will be on Zoom, At the beginning of the class period, probably about 1:15, I'll start the lecture. Obviously, if you can't get on right away, that's okay. I'll just make sure that everyone is muted so that you're not really disrupting the class when you hop on. So I will go through the lecture, and then I will open it up for the remainder of the class period for questions. So if you have questions, ideally, if we were on campus, this is how we've set it up. We're at the 1 o'clock start time. I would do the lecture, and then you would be working in your study plan problems for the remainder of class, and I would walk around the classroom, and if you have questions, I would go through them with you. So that's kind of the setup for this as well, even though it's going to be obviously through Zoom as opposed to in person. Outside of that time period, I am available to meet with you. We can either schedule a Zoom session or I can meet you on campus. I also work in the peer tutoring center. I'm one of the professional tutors. So I do have some hours next week. I will put those hours once I finalize them in Blackboard. And then anything outside of our Zoom live sessions or my on-campus hours, you are more than welcome to schedule an appointment with me either through Zoom or I can come into the campus for an additional time period if you want it to work. That is in the Learning Commons, which is D201. So that would be your first start period or your starting point if you wanted to come on campus during those drop-in times. You don't need to make an appointment if it's when I'm already on campus. You can just walk in. If it's outside of that time period, you would have to make an appointment. You can also email or text me questions. I've had students do this before. If it's just a quick question, feel free to just text it or email it, and I can kind of see where you've gone wrong, write out a little blurb, and then send it back to you. But if you wanted more in-depth tutoring, I'd be happy to set up those appointments. So getting back to the Zoom Live, I do have a permanent link. So this is the link for all of our Zoom sessions. This will also be the link if you would like to have a private session, or honestly, I can continue. I will be likely, if we're doing something in the tutoring center called embedded tutoring, so I would be the embedded tutor. In theory, we haven't finalized this yet for college algebra. And even if I'm not embedded, you're more than welcome to reach out to me if you wanted a tutoring session for your college algebra class. As you continue on in math, I've had some students that I started with in Fast Track, and I've worked with them through their entire college career, even beyond WCC. So that's always fun. I'm also the tutor for all the science classes, so biology, chemistry, physics. So again, if you're in any of those in this current semester, or as you move on throughout your semesters if you have questions. We also do have additional professional tutors and peer tutors as well. So if you would prefer to work with somebody totally different, that is fine. We can get you set up with somebody else as well. Okay, so my Zoom link, I did have some issues with students getting logged in. This is the permanent link. It is listed in Blackboard under the Contacts tab. So if you open that up, it has my email, it has my number, it does have the Zoom link. That is a live link, so if you literally click on it, it will take you directly to my email, or to my Zoom session, I'm sorry. Otherwise, you would have to copy and paste this into your browser, or if you actually open Zoom, you can click on join a session using a link. So it's not an access code. I don't have a code that you type in, it's using a link. So make sure you click that option, and then you will type in peer tutoring, all one word, .tl, it's my initials. So I don't know if that's where the issue came from, if people thought that was an I, or if it was a matter of it wasn't a live link and so they weren't copying and pasting it, but that's kind of the process for that. Again, if you do have issues, please try to message me. Obviously, if it's during the session, I might not get the Zoom or get that message, but I would be glad to meet with you after the fact if you wanted to go over what we did. Okay, so that's it for pretty much the course schedule. Hopefully I've got everything set up, and I will do a little video where I talk about kind of my math test and what you can expect in that for those of you who haven't already registered for my math test and taken your pre-test and started working in your study plan. So the next bullet point is etiquette. Again, obviously we're not on campus, but please try to use the Zoom classroom. Treat it like an actual classroom. So please be courteous of others. Keep your microphone muted unless you have a question. There's also a little chat option that you can type in a question. That worked pretty well. So hopefully this won't be an issue, but if I notice somebody is bullying another student or seems to be excessively loud and disruptive, we can treat this using the student code of conduct, and then this could potentially lead to withdrawal, but hopefully that's not going to be an issue. It's never been an issue to this date, so I'm counting it won't be an issue this time around as well. And then lastly, we've got disability services. So if you have a documented cognitive, physical, psychiatric disability, you are eligible potentially for academic support services. So you can either contact me and I can put you in touch with Tina Hardy, or you can directly contact Tina Hardy. So her office number is listed there, and also her college phone number as well. All right, so that is the syllabus. When you're starting to get registered for my math test, you're gonna go to the website www.mymathtest.com. Again, I do have a little instructional PDF in my math or in Blackboard under the handouts tab, so please open that up. You're going to start by typing in the program ID. So this is the program ID. Again, there have been a little bit issues with this because these two O's in this second group of 4 digits are the letter O, and this one where I put the dash through it is the number 0. So it's XL3N 0170901Y 4EV2. So that's the program ID. And then it is going to prompt you to create an account. I assume most of you have not used Pearson before, so My Math Lab or My Math Test. If you have, by all means, go ahead and use that login if you remember it. If not, go ahead and create your account. Ideally, I would recommend using your student email, and definitely get in the habit of checking your student email on a regular basis, especially considering everything is done online. So any announcements that I have, I will put them in Blackboard first and foremost, but then I will send them out as an email. So please get in the habit of checking your email. Okay, so like I said, that's the one I would recommend using for this. You do not have to, but I would recommend it. So you'll need an email, and of course you'll need Wi-Fi or computer access of some form, be it at home or on campus. Those computers are available as well. So it'll prompt you to create your account, and then you will need your access code. So that's what you purchased from the bookstore. It's in a little envelope. I believe it's $25. And then after you've typed in all of that, it will prompt you to enroll in the course. So you're gonna have to type in the program ID once again. And then once you type that in, you'll be able to log in and access your course. And so the first order of business is to take the pretest. If you want to, there should be an instructional video in My Math Test kind of teaching you how to type in the answers. So it's fairly straightforward, but just in case you have any questions, you can go ahead and do that. And incidentally, My Math Lab is the program that you're going to be using for your college algebra class. It's the same Pearson. They're both Pearson products, but it is a little bit different. So make sure for now you're going to mymathtest.com. And then once you get into your college algebra or even 920, if you have to take that, you'll be going to mymathlab.com. So a little bit different sign in. But you will be able to use the same username and account. So make sure you write it down and you remember that. All right, so I think that's about it for this video. If you have any questions, please go ahead and email or text me. Chances are if you have questions, somebody else will, so I'll make sure I address those and send it out as an email. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend, and I look forward to live Zooming with you if you are able on Monday. Again, it's not mandatory, it is highly encouraged, so I would recommend if you're able to, please try to hop on at 1. I chose that time because your college algebra session will be meeting at 1 as well once you get into that section. So if not, like I said, I will have a video online, or if you just want to go through it and be able to stop it, pause it, that's another option just to kind of get it further ingrained in your brain. So I look forward to working with you, and I will talk to you later. Bye.